I am so pissed. What have you done? You killed it.
I'm ready to let the frickin' rage out. So, first off, allow me to welcome Mr. Space Oyster.
Hello! I don't think I compare that favorably to Superman, even one of the crap ones.
Mm-hmm. And please welcome Dollface.
The fact is, Starscream, despite your treachery, I've allowed you to carry on this long because I took a certain delight in following your string of failures. But you finally become tiresome, predictable. You've hit rock bottom.
Yo!
So, this is just for visual effect. I think we're going to talk about the entirety of season 1 as it compares to the books. This is just visual.
Okay, well, that's a really easy conversation to have. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Bruh. Like, you can't even compare scenes, because normally when you're talking about differences from the books, you're talking about, like, you could at least compare, like, on a scene-by-scene basis, but it's literally, like, so... It's not even, like...
It's wildly different.
Yeah, even some of the scenes that are vaguely similar, like when Min is viewing all of the Eamon's fielders, even that doesn't mesh. That doesn't even have a good one-to-one comparison with the book scene, because in the book scene, Matt was there, and in the show scene, Matt's not there because they hate him.
And also because Barney Harris seems like he has just gone off the radar, is completely gone.
I hope he's okay.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be in this show, you know. I mean, I would want to get out of there, you know.
Yeah, like I know him leaving so suddenly forced the writers to write Matt out of the show, but I blame the writers more than I blame him.
I mean, it was already pretty bad before that point. You know?
Yes, episode 4, 5. I think the current standing, episode 4 is the best one. Everything else is terrible.
Yeah.
Everything else is terrible.
Yeah. There's still a lot of, like, dodgy stuff in episode 4, but I feel like that's the one where it was, like, a coherent narrative. Like, within that episode, it was, like, relatively coherent.
And then it just completely imploded in 5 by just having a stupid filler episode about a character we didn't that didn't matter.
A filler episode in an 8-episode season.
Yeah, they're really using their time wisely.
Yeah.
And then episode 6 was basically a filler episode. I mean, like, what really happened?
Oh, Matt got healed of the dagger.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's just... Yeah, but that's no big deal. That's no big deal.
Yeah, except he did.
Nonsense.
Yeah, except he didn't get healed from the dagger, because he just goes back to Shadar Logoth, I think.
Yeah, that definitely comes across as a retcon in terms of, like I think they initially that was actually going to be him being healed, but then because the actor left, they were like, he's not fully healed. But I think they originally were like, no, he is fully healed.
I don't think that was Shadar Logoth. I think that it's an honest mistake to make, because they reused the Shadar Logoth set for the Tarvalin set.
They didn't even change the angle.
Nope. The only thing that you can see that's slightly different is you can see the White Tower in the distance. But I just don't know how. Like, the main reason why I say it's Tarvalin is because I have no idea how on earth he could have gotten to Shadar Logoth in a few days.
It's just Tarvalin with a dark filter. But the problem is that is Shadar Logoth. Shadar Logoth is just Tarvalin with a dark filter.
Yeah, well, if they cared at all about their writing, then Matt would be dead, because Pat and Fane would have murdered him before going into the Waygate.
And Yeah,
Which the fact
that
that
whole bit is stupid.
the fucking Waygate, the whole thing with the Waygate, the fact that they have this whole thing with Moraine using the one power to open it for, and it's like, why does it need the one power? What is going on? But then it doesn't need the one power because Padan Vane, unless Padan Vane can channel, but I don't think they're saying that. But
no, he just has an Oven Destroyer Leaf.
but then if they have that, why didn't you show it? It's so bad. Like, it's so bad. And then Machin Shin is like so fucking bad. He just he just says
a mean
objectively
girl.
true things that are you know,
He's like a therapist who does tough love.
yeah, like as opposed to, you know, I'm gonna eat you and your bones, and the flesh from your bones, and it's gonna be really bad, and you're not gonna like it. It's gonna be painful. I'm gonna eat you. You know, like no, it's just this fucking yeah. Well, it's just like you know, you go into the ways, and it's like, oh no, don't run away from him. He'll psychoanalyze you.
Machin Shin tells lies only when he doesn't.
Literally, what the one thing that it says that isn't true, you know? Like, it's all just
there's stuff that I hope is untrue, like Perrin having a crush on Egwene.
Yeah,
Or
it's
Rand.
Rand. No, it's
triangle.
It's definitely Rand. It's definitely Rand. Like, I think it's like there's so many things where it's like, oh come on.
Either way, it's very stupid.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. They've ruined all the characters, and not just the men, but the women and the children.
Oh, especially the women. Like Moraine in this show, or Moron, as I like to call her show counterpart. She's just the worst. Moraine is the character they assassinated the most.
Moraine is so dumb.
The whole plan makes no fucking sense because it's literally just she literally even says, I think at one point, that she thinks this is supposed to be the last battle, which makes it make even less sense because it's like, what do you expect to fucking happen here? Like, it's so stupid because at least in the books that, like, they're only going there to like basically find the Eye of the World, and the whole idea that the Eye of the World isn't in a set location, so that's why you need Ta'Viren. So it actually makes sense why having Ta'Viren is a good thing, like, because it lets them find it, because it's all about, like, you know, the pattern and stuff, and that you know, it makes sense how Ta'Viren would help them find it, right? But they don't think in the books that this is like the last battle. We're going to do the last battle. We're just going to walk there and have the last, like, that's in the books. Even though the ending of the books is kind of confusing in its own right, it's way better than this, and the characters' actions make way more sense than it does in this. It's just
also, like, they didn't improve anything. Like, Egwene, the whole thing. Like, let's. There was no arc for any of the characters, and in the end, Egwene and Nynaeve were just props, literal props. They didn't do anything.
I feel like Egwene basically had the Captain Marvel character arc, which is where, she realizes that she's really powerful and that she's been holding back her own power or some shit, you know? It's that kind of character arc where it's like, wow, I just needed to believe and realize that I am the bestest ever, you know?
Well, to be fair, there might be one thing they did improve on, and that's Nynaeve and Lan's relationship.
I mean, like, yeah, it's like, at least it's some more stuff, you know, than like 2 conversations, and then I'm sorry, but we can never be together, and I love you so much, and I'm going to cry about it. It's so sad. I'm going to read you poetry and shit, but we can never be together, you know. But yeah, so
yeah,
kind
Lan
of,
Lan and Nynaeve in the books were pretty rushed, so it was nice to see some chemistry on screen between them, but
nobody else had chemistry.
Well, I really don't like the way, like, Rand and Egwene. I really don't like the way it's done, and I don't agree that, like, that they should be having sex and stuff, and it's like,
do you not understand how
I don't know, man.
do you not understand how how a like sexually conservative culture works?
Yeah, it's like the Two Rivers folks, super conservative and very stubborn. Like Rand, Matt, and Perrin, they all have issues killing women because of how they were raised.
Yeah, and also like when Rand first has sex with Avienda, he's like, "We should get married."
It's a big deal, you know. Yeah, because and also that's another big thing that they keep adding all of this superfluous stuff, like all of these kind of ceremonies. Oh, everything has a fucking ceremony. Do you know what I mean? Like there's this retarded fucking women's circle ceremony where it's like, well, what is the point of this? Like, this is so stupid. This is so dumb. It adds nothing. It's all like surface level world building. But
it's
the
symbolism.
big picture,
It's symbolism about channeling.
Also, like at one point, like in the trailer, there's a shot of a good old Egwene coming out of a pool with
the colors,
multicolors that didn't show up in the show for some reason.
It was
I was
just
thinking
I thought that would be like a dream sequence or something, but yeah. But what I'm saying is like the world building of like the women's circle, right? So they have this ceremony, right? And it's just this surface level world building, but the deeper level, you don't get the idea that the women's circle are really important to Two Rivers society because they do nothing about things like Matt's parents, right? They do nothing about that. They seem to just clearly everyone knows that this domestic situation is happening, but they do nothing about it, which really hurts the world building of what the women's circle is supposed to be, right? They don't feel like a big part of Two Rivers society. You know, all of this ceremony shit is completely surface level. You don't feel like they actually matter to the Two Rivers like culture. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, it also feels weird that Matt's dad would be able to score with anyone because, like, the Two Rivers is supposed to be a close-knit community.
But, like, how would they let him get away with this? Like, how would they not be? How would they let this happen? Like, let this go on without, you know, like they would do something about it. You know, it's just ridiculous.
And I don't think any of those women would want to sleep with a married man because they'd be like, "Oh, what would your wife think?"
Like, he would be a pariah. He would be like a social outcast. But it seems like he's able to go around with all these women. But that also makes it seem like the Two Rivers is like bigger. Like it seems like the Two Rivers is the kind of place where basically, you know, everyone should know everybody. You know, it's like it shouldn't be possible for there to be so many people that you can have an affair and people not know about it. You know what I mean? Or like not know who it is you're having. It would be so obvious, and the women's circle would be like, right, you're getting bait. You know, you're getting bait.
Yeah, they would be like, you are getting a severe talking to.
They would get the what do you call them? The what do you call them? Like not the whips, but like the fucking
straps.
I'm thinking of a different word, but yeah, the switches. The switches. Yeah,
they would get switched. Like Abel Cawthon could not do this. Like they just don't get how sexually conservative societies work. They just want to make, and like the weirdest thing, this backwater village has more diversity in it than a trading hub, i.e. the White Tower.
But it's like the character thing of the fact that they don't intervene in this. It's basically the character assassination, but for the whole village. Like literally everyone in the village is just assassinated by that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's really bad. I do not understand what they were thinking with that.
Well, they probably weren't. Or they probably thought, oh, we have to show that Matt has a heart of gold. So we have to make his parents deadbeats.
But then he's not a heart of gold because it's the evil inside of him is feeding off the fucking dagger. Like, it's not just that the dagger is like from the most evil place in like, you know, in existence. Like the most evil place. No, it's that he's got evil inside of him that it's feeding on. Do you know what I mean? So they don't even give him a heart of gold.
No, they really don't.
We live in a society.
We live in a society.
Unlike the characters in this show.
No, they don't live in a society. They live in a fabrication of a society, a very poor one.
Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about episode 7.
Now,
Alright,
what happened?
We've already
let's
done
talk about
that.
it.
We already
What
did.
happened in episode 7? What happened in
So,
episode 7
The
again?
ways.
The-
The ways.
Well, no.
ended.
Yeah, but the opening, the
Oh,
yeah,
the
Tigran.
pregnant IU,
IU.
the pregnant IU woman fighting off 5 dudes without her
the
veil on.
companions. They're the companions. They have the yellow bands on their sleeves, which means that they are the companions.
They
Yeah,
also have
correct.
7 bees. They also have the golden bees on
Yeah,
their.
so they are-
turtles.
But so they're not just soldiers of Alien. They are the top guys. You know,
They're
it's
basically
so
SEAL Team
absurd.
6. They're basically the
Yeah.
SEAL Team 6 / Green Berets.
It's so
of-
absurd in so many ways. Like they would be able to take out. They at this point they would have already taken out like multiple IELs. You know what I mean? The idea that one IEL could take on 5 of them, let alone a pregnant one, is so absurd. It's ridiculous.
And she's not even really IEL technically.
I know she's only been there for I think it's supposed to be like 6 years or something at that point.
Like you can get
Yeah.
some pretty hefty conditioning in 6 years, but not enough that you can withstand giving birth.
Well,
It's just
if they-
so dumb.
Yeah, well, if they get to book 4 and beyond, then Rand is going to have an invincible army of maidens bodyguarding him at all times. If this is what one can do while pregnant, just think of what the others can do when they're not pregnant.
Maybe they're stronger when they are pregnant. Maybe they need to. That's the strategy, is to get them all pregnant so that they'll get the pregnancy power up. You know.
Huh.
Yeah.
That was so stupid. And like there's even like basic continuity problems with how the one power works. Like when
Mhm.
the 5 women link, they can nuke 10 to 20,000 Trollocs.
Man, but when we saw fully trained Aes Sedai fighting in episode 4, they could barely hold off a small rebel army.
Like yeah. That's very strange. Yeah.
They just farted in the woods a bunch.
But another thing that makes that was one thing in episode 4 that I didn't like was they basically make it out that Nynaeve is just more powerful, just straight up more powerful than Logan. Like literally just in terms of raw power. And that's just it's so bad. Like it's not enough that she's better, like she's the best healer essentially that has been seen in like thousands of years or possibly ever. She also has to be stronger in raw power compared to Logan. It's like just let him have his thing. You know what I mean? Like let him he should be way more powerful than Nynaeve. Like Nynaeve is powerful, but like Logan is like really, really, really powerful. You know, he should be. You know,
We even get a direct reference for how strong when she tries to shield him in book 6.
Yeah, I
After
think
she heals
6.
him,
Yep.
he's barely breaking a sweat as he's trying to break her shield, but she's really hanging on. Admittedly, like her anger is going away, but she's still having quite a bit of trouble with him.
I think also in episode 5, then with Logan, this is the thing that annoys me about Logan is that they're like when they initially said, "Oh, we're going to have more Logan," right? Like before the show came out, when they were like, "Okay, there's going to be more of Logan earlier on." I thought, "Okay, that's kind of cool." You know, I can see that. But I was pretty optimistic about that idea. But what they've essentially done is they've had more of him only to emasculate him. Like only to take away his power, only to have a female character one-up him, and only to have him be extremely pathetic when he's like, "Oh, kill me, just kill me." Like, yeah, he's suicidal, like in the books, like after that point.
But
But he's not pathetic. You know what I mean?
But
Yeah,
it's like
he's
a
like a stoic
grim-
kind of.
But Dollface,
You know,
stoicism is toxic masculinity. Haven't you heard?
Yeah, only
God
women
damn
can be stoic. Except when they can't, because they can't. Apparently, they decided they can't have the Aes Sedai being their usual calm, collected selves because because non-book reading audiences just wouldn't get that. And we want these actors to emote.
the fucking, oh my god! And then the oath rod, the way it's used, like it's just so unnecessary and dumb, and it really just paints the Aes Sedai as just like, yeah, this is a thing that we normally do. Like
And
that, like we get them to take an extra oath. That's a thing that normally happens.
And it just makes the Aes Sedai look
Right.
even dumber because with the way morons swore that oath, they would have known. Oh, those two are banging.
It's just so unnecessary and not. It completely takes out the subtlety of Aes Sedai politics from the books, because in the books, if say you had this situation, right, you had the equivalent of the show situation, and you everything up until this point happened the way it happens in the show, but then we take it from that point, where he has to leave, he has to come up with some excuse to leave Tar Valon, right? If it was the books, it would be like you would have that conversation with Megan. And she would be like, "Oh well, I think you should stay, and it would be good if you could stay." And then she would say like,
I'll think about it.
Yeah, like she would say something that in such a way that she could just leave, like in the night, like she could just leave without saying anything. That would be what Maureen would do, because it would just be like, well, I never actually said I would say that. That would be the kind of Aes Sedai type word
Loophole.
game type of thing. Do you know what I mean? You don't need to have this whole fucking song and dance. It's so unsubtle and un-Aes Sedai like.
Also, even just how they get into that situation just thoroughly character assassinates Swan, who is one of the smartest people in the Wheel of Time. And yet she comes off as a crazy authoritarian whack job.
That's putting it mildly.
It's just so dumb that like Swan in the equivalent situation, right? So like, what would Book Swan do when she sees like Logain, right? In that situation, it would just like, he would say, he says all this inflammatory stuff and is like, I killed XYZ number of your sisters, and she would be like, I pity you. I'm sorry that the taint has done this to you.
Or even just, that's all you got. I heard worse I've heard worse abuse from my uncle when he was drunk.
Like it's like, but she wouldn't be like, she wouldn't feel the need to grandstand. Do you know what I mean? It comes across as really pathetic when you feel the need to, is essentially assert your dominance by basically being like, I'm better than you. I'm so much better than you. In fact, I could beat you up with one hand time behind my back. I'm so much better than you, and you suck, and I've got a big seat. It's just, it just comes across as just so weak. It just makes her look so weak and pathetic.
Yeah. Not to mention, in the books, don't they try to keep gentlemen alive as like a sort of recompense for what they had to take away from them?
Yeah.
Like, because like these men didn't choose to channel, but it's dangerous to let them have that ability, so we have to take it away from them. And
yeah, the whole thing about the thing she says, a man who dares to channel. It's like, what the fuck are you saying? What are you saying?
Yeah, because Logain chose to be born that way, just like I chose to be born gay. That's just the exact same thing. Sorry, what were we talking about?
Oh, I was just thinking Swan's a moron for putting Moraine in that position.
Well, birds of a feather.
And also the thing that Swan says of like, oh yeah, the Dark One's weak. We can kill him. We can just kill him. We can just kill him.
So had
my God, that's so dumb.
had they mentioned like Calandor and how the Dragon Reborn will draw the sword that is not a sword? Was that mentioned in book 1?
That was mentioned in book 1, but it was not mentioned at all in this series.
Or like any, or the, I don't think, have they mentioned the Carathian cycle? I don't think they have.
Well,
It
Rand
was a
picked up the
throwaway
book at the
reference.
library. Yeah,
It was
I
a
think.
throwaway reference, but yeah.
Yeah, but they pretty much don't believe the Catharian cycle. They're like, oh yeah, these are mild suggestions that we maybe can listen to. They're not actually going to be in any way accurate.
It's so stupid. It doesn't. It's not a different. It's not like it's from a different turning of the wheel. It's from the same like turning of the wheel. Do you know what I mean? It's the same turning. You know what I mean? It's only 3,000 years ago. They have it written down like verbatim. It's not that. You know, and it's not this, you know, kind of Chinese whispers of like, oh, what did they really say? No, they know exactly what they said. You know, so.
Yep. There's also elements of just them setting up the multi-headed dragon nonsense.
Oh my fucking God.
I was just like, that's thankfully, they haven't done it
Yet.
They can still do it. They can still do it.
Well, we know that there are 5 Taviran that Nynaeve, Egwene, or Taviran.
Do you know what I fucking the other thing I hate as well. What was it?
Well, the thing I really hate about them trying to emphasize this whole, the prophecies can't be 100% accurate or whatever. It's such a misinterpretation of how prophecies are interpreted in the books, because in the books, when a prophecy comes true, it's usually in a way that no one expected. The biggest example that comes to mind for me is always when the 3 become 1. Major spoilers for the end of the book, by the way, but for the very, very end of the last book. But the 3 that become 1, it refers to Sidin, Sidar, and the Dark One, whatever you call his power source.
Oh, the true power, isn't it?
Yeah. Those are the 3 that become 1. I initially thought it was Rand, Matt, and Perrin were going to fuse somehow because they're 3. And
I was thinking like Rand and Moradin, because they were kind of fusing.
But
something else.
And then everyone who read the prophecies, they assumed the 3 that become 1 were 3 of the great nations at the time, or they just they were way off the mark. But it wasn't because they didn't believe that the 3 that become 1 isn't going to happen. It's just they didn't know what that meant.
Yeah,
but and also what they did to the horn. It's so dumb. It's so dumb for it to just be like
a magical super weapon is there.
It's so fucking dumb. The whole point of like the hunt for it is that nobody knows where it is. Like people would know if it was like the idea that they could keep it secret that it was under there. I just find that a bit silly, and it's just so dumb. The fact that it's, you know.
Oh, Dollface, you still there?
Oh, sorry, I muted myself. But yeah, the fact that the horn in the books is found in the eye, it makes it so much more like mystical. You know what I mean? Like so much more like legendary. You know, that it's in this place that can only be found at a time of great need, and that it was put there by isn't it the companions? Isn't it, or like the 100 companions?
No, it was just by a bunch of Aes Sedai.
Yeah. So they like put it there for like a time of great need. So it gives it this gravitas. But like having it they just have it. They have it under the throne.
Yeah.
And they refused to use it when they needed it most because of raisins. I bet that box isn't even locked like it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Also, there's the thing of, why didn't they blow it when Malkir was falling? Surely they would have thought that the last battle was that, when an entire kingdom got swallowed by the blight.
Oh, no. That was meant to happen. That was one of the prophecies they do believe in.
Malkir isn't even in any of the prophecies.
No. It was in a prophecy. It was one of the off-screen ones. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, speaking of prophecies, so we talked a bit about it, but the bit with Min, right, where Min looks at the kind of the Emmons Field, well, some of them, because obviously Matt's not there, right? But she basically looks at them and has some, visions about them. She doesn't say the thing about Rand and Egwene, like the thing about you will.
She's not meant for her.
Yeah, she's not meant. She's not meant for you. Like she doesn't say that.
Yeah, the only thing she says is 3 beautiful women. That's the only thing that she says.
Because I think see my thought when the fact that she didn't say that, I think it's they're somehow making that Min isn't part of the love triangle, and they're gonna give like a lot of Min moments to Egwene or something, like somehow, like something like that.
That would be terrible.
Yeah,
I know,
Min,
but like,
which is weird because Avienda has been cast, so she's going to be in season 2. At least I think she is.
And Elaine has been cast.
Sure. But it's just like I am now just like after the ending of this, I have no idea how they're going to BS their way into doing.
Oh yeah, the fact that Rand just like pieces out. He's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, Rand gets to wander off. Moraine is basically stilled.
He's not worried about Matt or anything. He's not like, oh, is Matt okay?
And then Perrin, apparently he joined the Way of the Leaf. I have no idea when, how, or why he never bought into that.
Hey, you always thought it was BS. And I think there's actually a guy named Prophet of the Dragon on YouTube who just says, Perrin should never be buying into the Way of the Leaf because the Way of the Leaf is bull crap. Just bluntly states the Way of the Leaf is stupid.
The thing about the Way of the Leaf is that it's plausible enough that there would be some people that would buy into it, and it would be kind of a cult, like, where more and more people buy into it, and then kind of like a pyramid scheme. They get in some friends, and they're like, oh, they're really into it, and then they end up in this kind of cult where everyone's like, oh yeah, it's so great that you've joined the Way of the Leaf. So they basically kind of love bomb them, kind of. So they get them to be like, oh, only us will ever accept you, kind of thing. So it's basically this kind of cult like atmosphere. So it's plausible that there are people that can believe in it. But I feel like, even in the show, like that scene. The scene where they're all getting slapped. Oh my god!
Stupid.
It was pretty satisfying, though. To be fair, it was like
the analogy that I saw where it's just like, oh, they're just peaceful protest analoging. Great. That just pissed me off. Same with everything that happened with the White Cloaks after that in that episode, like how they thoroughly ruined Perrin's character arc.
Yeah.
Going forward.
Oh yeah, he does nothing then. Like he has actually no part in them escaping. Like it's all Egwene. Like Egwene is the one who frees their bonds. He doesn't. It looks like at one point, oh, he's gonna fuck him up, right? He's gonna fuck Valda up or something, But no, he just does nothing. He just stands there, and then the wolves come, and then they just go. Like he doesn't actually do anything. If he had killed Valda like right there, like if he had just like gone full wolf mode on Valda, that might have been interesting,
Yeah,
but
and they didn't introduce and then kill off Hopper, so that motivation for Perrin is gone too. He's not going to have a wolf dream teacher unless Hopper's already dead, and then he meets Hopper later. But that makes even less sense. Why would Hopper care about? Well, I mean, the wolves seem to like the people who can talk to them, so I guess Hopper would care then. But
we get the whole episode about fucking Sad Warder man, and we don't get Elias.
No, we can't have Elias because he said things that were important,
and we cannot have any male mentorship relationships where a man teaches another man how to be a man.
Lan and Rand are supposed to have that relationship.
we don't get the flame in the fucking void. We never got the flame in the void. We never got the explanation of the flame in the void. You know,
Yeah, it makes that archery scene even stupider in episode 7 because it's like, oh, Rand's missing because he can't concentrate. Well, you never set that up as a thing he needs to do.
But it's like they wasted the cold opens in this series have been so wasted. Like they've been just used on just such pointless fucking bullshit. Like the one where it's like Nynaeve escaping from the Trollocs, which like a whole thing that didn't even happen, didn't even need to be there. It was completely unnecessary. Like we didn't need this for Nynaeve to be like a strong, interesting character or whatever. Like we didn't need this at all. But that took up a whole cold open that could have been literally anything else. Like so many things. Whereas like you could have fit it in here. You could have fit in the board here.
Just even the fact that like the whole thing with her like being captured by the Trollocs and then escaped was so pointless. It's such a waste of time. It didn't need to be there.
Yeah, especially since it's still badass that she just tracks Lamb. Like, that in and of itself is badass enough. She didn't need more to her street cred.
It was so dumb. It was just so fucking dumb. And I can't help but think that so they just wanted to have that spectacle of that battle, right? In the first episode. But I feel like
they had to show us
been really good if you just did that scene, and they kind of show it later, but like the scene the way it is in the books, where it is just Rand's perspective, and then you come back and see the aftermath. I feel like you could I don't, especially because you're releasing 3 episodes at once, so you don't need to have that spectacle at the end of the first episode. You know, you can have, it would have been enough to just have the scene from the books where it's just Rand's perspective, and you could have had Tam actually be a little badass instead of just failing to like
defeat a single Trolloc. Yeah, that was a good showing for a Blade Master.
But he was out of practice.
And he was old, and he was out of practice. So a single Trolloc would be more than capable of taking him out.
So what the complete idiot tried to say about Luke Skywalker in the not so great debate about The Last Jedi.
He's old.
You remember that? Where that complete ignoramus who couldn't articulate his thoughts at all, who just like, I'm asking you, will you give this any leeway for being a Disney fanatical Star Wars movie?
Yeah, I remember that. Not so great debate. Anyway, back to the point that we got completely taken away from about the one power and how poorly they're setting it up, if at all.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they fucked up. So it seems like they're just not doing Saidin, or like the differences between Saidin and Saidar, because like especially in the episode 8, right, where he's quote unquote the Dark One. And like we know it's not the Dark One, but it seems like they're still going with the idea that as far as the viewers are concerned, this is the Dark One. But it's Ishamael basically, but he's explaining to Rand how to use the power, and you can.
This is not how Saidin is described.
Yeah, but some people have said, "Oh, well, you see, of course he's telling him the wrong thing because he's trying to deceive him." But no, it works. Like what he tells Rand,
he wants Rand to channel. That is his end game.
Yeah, so it's not like he's giving him like false advice so that he will burn himself out and die, right? It clearly the advice works. So the problem is that advice is Saidar advice. It's surrender to an all. Like fucking grasp it, firmly grasp it. Like that's not how
grasping things firmly is toxic masculinity.
How do you Saidin firmly grasp?
Yeah, just like your sword, grasp it firmly.
Like, it's you had such an opportunity to talk about, they just know Saidar. Saidin is different. You gotta grasp it. It's you gotta wrestle with it, or else all that stuff is so awesome, but you don't.
and they seem to be inconsistent about what men and women who can channel are able to sense about each other. Episode 4, Moraine seems she can tell how strong Logain is, but she doesn't seem to be able to tell what he is doing when he's channeling.
Well, yes, he can sense. I mean, because he sensed from when she walks into the room is only when she's shielding him. Because if it's when she's shielding him, that would still make sense. That would still like fit.
Yeah, since like she can tell like based on the resistance to her shield. I buy that fine. That's
But then in episode I think 6, when she heals Matt, after that she's still convinced that it could be any one of them that's the Dragon Reborn. But if that's the case, she has no evidence to support Rand. But he mentions that he noticed that she dragged the taint out of Matt and took it on upon herself before getting rid of it. So that could be an indication that Rand was able to see exactly what Moraine was doing when a normal person shouldn't, although they don't establish how that would work.
No. Also, just what did you guys think of Swan and Moraine? I admittedly like I think you guys were there. We just burst out laughing when that
I feel like it was. It's first of all, my first thought was, I don't fucking care. This is a waste of time. I don't even care if it's canon, right? I don't even care if this is book canon, which it's not, because even if they had a fling, they were not a committed like couple, you know? Like so, but even if they were, I still feel like it's like I just don't care. I don't. Where's the actual story? You know,
I'm more pissed off about how they were able to rendezvous. Like, was Moraine able to use something that allows her to travel? Did they go into the world of dreams? No matter what it was, massive implications. Because was it that picture she had hanging up on the wall that did it, or was it something else? Ugh.
It's so contrived because it's just this. They've added this whole magical item that doesn't even exist in the books. They've created this item purely to facilitate a fucking sex scene.
Well, a fade to black scene.
It's not even a sex scene. But something.
It's like, you know, she starts to go down, you know, on your knees, you know.
And you saw them kiss. Don't you think it's hot when women kiss?
Yeah, well, maybe if they weren't like
40,
you know,
not when they're
40,
50s.
50, you know, it's like I'm sorry if that, you know, if that's like, wow, this is real women. This is what real women look like. This is the reality.
No.
You just want to see idealized beauty. Yes, I just want to true. I just want to see beautiful. I don't want to see old people. I don't care. You know. I don't want to see it, you know. Like, not saying she's looking bad for her age, but I still don't want to fucking see it, you know. It's just maybe that's shallow of me, but it's like it's entertainment, you know. I want to be entertained, and I'm not entertained.
Are you not entertained? No,
no, I'm not.
And then the inconsistencies with the channel, with male and female channeling, seem to keep building up because, or at least I think they do. I thought I remembered something, but no, it just
with Logain, like seeing Nynaeve's like.
Oh yeah, that's one. Yeah, Logain should not have been able to see how powerful Nynaeve was, so that ruins that too.
It's the fact that he shields his eyes, you know, it's definitely. It's not just a react. It's not like, because in the books it's kind of goosebumps. Yeah, it's kind of like you kind of feel it, but you can't really see the weaves or anything, or you can't see what they're doing or that they're holding the source. You can kind of feel ambiently.
Yeah, but then
maybe it's like what happened in the Ways, which that alone is so stupid. Yeah. You remember that bit where Nynaeve holds back Ma Shin? Bull crap.
Yeah, a good thing she holds him back, or else he might give her, you know, drop some red pills. That's what Ma Shin does. You know, he's just like,
He's a
Hey,
he's a
wanna hear
black
some-
pilled.
Want to hear
No, it's a
some
black pilled.
statistics?
Yeah.
No, it's a
And then-
black pill dispensary.
Hey,
Which
hey, not
nowadays,
Eddie.
I'm like, you know what? Black pilling is looking better and better nowadays because nothing good is coming out. The best things I had last year were Spider-Man No Way Home and Dune.
Hmm.
That was it. Maybe Suicide. I've heard good things about Suicide Squad, but I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not interested.
The
I need-
Suicide Squad. You need to differentiate them.
Hey, Nani,
Okay,
Did
the
you know?
Suicide Squad.
Did you know that on dating sites, 10% of the men get 90% of the matches? What do you think about that, Nani?
And then for the final inconsistencies with the one power, in the last episode, Moron tells Bland she can't teach him how to channel. She doesn't give him any basic advice.
but
because
she won't teach him how to channel because he'll go, not because she can't and because Sidine and Sidar are different, but because he'll go mad. Like, do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's she won't. It's not she can't. She could if she wanted to. That's
Yeah.
the implication
and
from
then
the way
that
she says it.
And then that Sa Angriel she's got, it doesn't specify if it's for a man or for a woman. So,
Yeah.
so she either grabbed one that works for both, or she knew it was going to be a man the whole time and was just trolling everybody.
Or all of them work for both because there's no
Yeah.
separation. There's no
That's-
distinction.
That's true too.
Ugh.
But yeah, good idea, Moron. Don't teach him how to channel at all, even though you could, because it's not like he needs to know how to do that to use the one power, which you expect him to use to beat the Dark One.
Also, they've thoroughly ruined Rand's arc. Thoroughly ruined any character conflict he has. He doesn't have any.
Well,
Doesn't have any character at all.
Yeah, he doesn't
Well,
have
if
any
they
character.
if they focused on him at all, it would spoil the mystery box, and we can't have that.
What's really annoying about it is the part where he's basically having his temptation of Christ kind of moment, you know, where
By the power of simpage for
yeah,
Egwene.
yeah, it's not about like what he thinks is right or wrong in general. It's yes, but Egwene is an independent woman, you know, who has her own dreams and aspirations, and that's what's really important. You know, and it's
Which is a good
Ugh.
message. It's just that their delivery and just the fact that it's coming from these people makes it cringe.
But it's the fact that his moment is reduced to, oh, but what about Egwene though? Like it's reduced to being about Egwene instead of him. You know, it's not about his character.
Well, it had to be about Egwene because they stole that scene from a later one of hers in the books.
I know
And,
they
like-
might still do that in the show, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
I hope they don't. I hope they don't get that far. I hope they're canceled.
They won't.
fucking-
Amazon doesn't
fucking
cancel
Sean
any
Chan.
shows. Ugh, the Sean.
the Sean's
Chan.
at the way they did the show, just that little bit at the end. Like it wasn't even that much. It was like fucking 30 seconds, and it was just like, oh no, what are you doing?
They already ruined the
Fine.
San-Chan.
I mean,
Yeah, they make
what
them
is
look like.
this?
Why are they doing like African tribal music? Like,
Why
why are they
did-
making
why-
like African tribal stuff? They're samurai with black skin.
Why do they have
It's-
fucking? Why do they have the fucking gags? Like, what is that? What is the need? Why do they not just have? It's not that hard to just have a fucking silver chain. You should be, and it doesn't even seem to be a chain connecting bracelets to the thing, which is just really dumb. Especially for like the whole point is like when they're in their like when they put the Damane in their like rooms or whatever, the fact that they can hang up the bracelet part, and that they can move about freely as long as they don't move the location of the bracelet. So like as long as the bracelet is where it was left, then they can basically move about freely. Within like the range of the chain or whatever. So, and also it should be something that you should be able to carry easily enough in like a bag or something. Like you should be able to have like a bag of them, and so that you can reach into when you need to use it, you know? So it's really silly. It should be a very utilitarian thing, you know? It's not decorative or anything. It should be like the most simple utilitarian thing. It's only there for this use. You know, it's not really a ceremonial thing, and it's just so silly. And the fact that there's no chain, but there is a gag, and also it shouldn't be the fact that they were so simple. Like what the Damane wore was literally just a plain gray dress, and especially when you're reading the Wheel of Time and all the clothes, like all the clothing has all this intricate description and all like it had all this embroidery and shit, and it, you know, you get the sense of clothing being really intricate and you know, detailed. So when the Damane is so plain, it really stands out, you know. But you don't get this here because they've put all of this like unnecessary like design shit.
Well, they had to give the Damane, they had to give them the gag thingy because apparently the writers like the Dragon Age series, and they liked the way the Kunari handled their mages.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yay, we have a bot.
Hi, bot!
I'm
Wow.
banning you. Leave.
You have been blocked, Mr. Bot.
I don't care. I have the full right to ban bots with extreme prejudice. I don't care. I'm pissed off as it is. Don't add bots to my bad mood.
But yeah, I can't believe the way they make a wave for no reason, just because fuck this one child in particular.
Yeah,
just go fuck yourself. Just we're gonna tsunami these bitch.
Yeah, you know, conquerors are well known for destroying the lands that they want to occupy.
Like they don't even need to attack; they just kind of walk in and are just like, "Look, we're in charge," and it's like, "Oh,
yeah, we
all
have
right."
demigods chained on leashes.
Yeah, like they don't need to do anything. Like they don't need to really do anything. They can just the difference between like Aes Sedai and like the Shan-Chan is the Shan-Chan have no qualms about using the one power as a weapon.
They're not bound by anything.
Right. Well, so they can just go in and just be like,
why do the Shan-Chan like have face? Why do they have weird
what is that?
face paint? And what's
it's the same reason behind the ceremony. It's just
well, it's because that they're black in the book, so they had to have face paintings to make them look African.
Well, kind of that's the thing. Some of them are described as having honey-colored faces.
Well, like Shan-Chan is like kind of diverse. Like Shan-Chan is actually diverse, you know, because you get like what's her name? Tuon's what's her name? Solutia is blonde.
Yeah, who's she's pretty white. And then you have honey-colored, which is pretty. I'd say is like fair approximation of like Asian, but Robert Jordan was tactful enough not to say yellow-skinned.
Yeah, but it is like they are actually diverse. Like there's all kinds of characters that are Shan-Chan that look like all kinds of things, and a lot of the Soldam. What's the name? What's the name of the one that marries Eginin? Is that her name?
Eginin?
Yeah. So she's like,
Eginen's not Soldam.
She was some sort of she's
person. And then But
didn't she get exiled?
Connell, though. Like she
she got exiled. Yeah.
But yeah, so she. Yeah, so I know C has blue eyes, isn't it? So she's like dark hair, blue eyes. So, but yeah, anyway, like there's like a whole load of like, it is actually a range. It's like a range of different looks compared to like, whereas like when you think of like Ara Duman, there is a particular kind of look where that makes people go, oh, they're probably from Ara Duman, you know. And it also talks about like olive skinned Eltarans and shit like that. But Shan-Chan is pretty diverse. It's just like a whole load of different.
Yeah, well, now everywhere is diverse, so and everywhere is diverse now, so there's no way to tell where someone's from just based on their appearance anymore. Like not even the
Aiel.
Well, not even the not even the Eamon's fielders for the the Emansfield Five, not even they dress anywhere similar. Like, the most similar thing they have in common is that Egwene and Nynaeve both wear dresses, and that's it.
They have a similar skin tone because I think what's her face? Zoe Robbins is Nigerian, and Madeline Madden is British Pakistan. I think she's British Indian.
What are those? What are those brown ones? I don't know. They're all the same, really.
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised they had the self-restraint to not make Rand black too.
Oh God. You do see some black gingers occasionally, but yeah. But it's different though. But yeah, it's I don't know, man. It's but either way. What else can we talk about? Oh yeah, the cold open of episode 8. The Age of Legends.
The Age of Legends.
There's so much wrong with this scene.
Well, first, they have them speaking gibberish the whole time. I'm not sure if it's the old tongue because I don't even know if they know what that means.
Well, I think it is because they definitely, at one point, you can hear them say like "Sidene" and stuff.
Yeah,
like
but they're
that.
not talking about the one power. That's for damn sure.
I think she says it's like your power, like to Lews Therin, and that's like Sidene. That's when she says Sidene. So it's a bit weird.
Yeah, but as Shad pointed out in his review, she's basically like, no, you're gonna mess up, and I'm going to make sure you do, and then we're gonna clean up your mess because that's what women always do.
The whole situation is just absurd because the way they're saying it, it's like, oh yeah, the Dark One's out, and that's fine, and we should do nothing about the fact that the Dark One is just out and about.
Yeah,
it's like,
they have no alternatives. If they don't even mention the Chodan call as like an alternative, as like a passing reference.
And also the fact that
was
she's the Tamerlane when Lews Therin is the Tamerlane. He should be the Tamerlane. Like, it should be him who's the Tamerlane, and she's the one who's rebelling against him, you know? And the whole idea was there were the two plans were we're going to destroy the Dark One. We're gonna basically use the
Chodan call.
The Chodan call, and we're going to actually destroy him. And the alternative was the prison. We're gonna reforge.
Well, I think it was like
in the board.
I think it was like the two means, like and
Yeah,
I don't think it was destroy the Dark One, but it was using the Tirangriel. But the problem is the Tirangriel fell behind enemy lines that they needed to use it them safely. So that created a lot of problems. So Lews Therin said, we're going to have to
work
use
without
a
them.
Plan. Yeah.
All I remember about the Aes Sedai from Lews Therin's time is that the men and the women disagreed on exactly how to handle things. Like, the men wanted to go right away, and the women wanted to wait for something. So I don't remember anything specific beyond that. And then the whole point is the men's sacrifice was noble, but if they had the women's help, they might have succeeded even better. Maybe. I don't remember.
But I think it's doing the same thing it did in episode 1, where it's basically just going, men and their arrogance. You know, like it's all the man's fault for being arrogant. And that even calling it arrogant, like, oh, they were arrogant, as if the Dark One being free was just fine, and that they were arrogant for wanting to seal him away, and to think
the world.
How dare you? Oh, the arrogance! And it's just like, what kind of ridiculous. Also, the fact that there should be a war of power going on at this point.
Yeah, well, no, we don't have time for that. We gotta show how bad men are. Men in general. No women are evil. They're gonna make Lanfear sympathetic, and Mogideon, and Masana, and Cimirage, or however you pronounce that.
Cimarag. Yeah,
Cimarag.
Even though Cimarag is a freaking psycho.
No, she's a sympathetic character. Her parents were murdered by puppies.
I like there's one scene definitely that I cannot imagine them doing on screen, which is Samurai just getting spanked, just straight
Oh
up.
yeah, they will not do that.
Spanked, you know.
Oh God.
That was so fucking good. I actually love that scene, but I cannot imagine them doing that on screen though. It's so fucking funny though.
Well, they can't show a woman being humiliated.
They're gonna make Catswain and like Samurai a like dom sub relationship thing.
No, probably. Ugh.
God, but yeah.
Ugh.
So yeah, the way what's really annoying
I
is
am
that
so
the
looking
ending of Eye of the
forward
World
to Landfear and how they're gonna ruin
yeah.
Landfear.
Oh, well, Lanfear's already going to be tough enough because she flipped her shit when Rand lost his virginity. Imagine how she's going to feel when he's already not a virgin.
Yeah, kind of
But
fucks
she's
with that.
They're gonna have sex. Come on. They're gonna have sex. Come on. They're gonna have sex.
Yeah.
She is going to blow that farm boy's mind.
Yep. She's got hundreds of years of experience that she's gonna use to make him just feel like he's in heaven, even though he's in bed with a psycho.
I'm just about, the that scene from Little Mermaid is like body language.
All she needs is to flash her legs, and all he goes, huh?
Well, gee golly, miss.
Yeah, but after what I've seen of their first season, I do not think they can handle Landfear at all. They're going to ruin her just like they ruined everyone else.
I think it's so annoying because
Especially
I feel like
Moraine.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Eye of the World is the one where you could make improvements like to the ending. Like there are definitely things that you could take out or change or sift around where it would make more sense than it does in the books. That's what's so annoying. Is that
like the
you're like,
metaphysics
there's room for improvement.
Weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
some of the ways
in Eye of the World do not make sense.
Yeah, some of the ways Moraine channels in the book don't actually work very well once you get more in depth with how the power works. Like I think there was one scene in Baerlon where she essentially becomes a giant, steps over the wall, and then she rides up to the rest of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like that scene in it's like that scene
But I
in
can see it as like an
Fellowship
illusion
of the Ring.
thing, but yeah, it's weird.
You know the part in Fellowship of the Ring where Gandalf's like, "Do not take me for a conjurer of cheap tricks," like that part.
Yeah, he made it. He put his voice through a filter and he dimmed the lights. It was very neat.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just the whole thing with white cloaks. Like, there's so much like ruined go.
Oh no, done. You're roboting.
It's the taint.
It's the taint.
His microphone has been tainted by the taint.
Maybe he ran out of internet gas.
It has touched the oily taint.
I hate this show. I want to kill this show. I want it to be canceled.
Yeah.
But they're not going to because it's the #1 show on Amazon.
Well, according
maybe
to
that's
some
more about Amazon.
Well, according to some bullshit survey that they made up with very specific parameters, at least according to that one guy Shad mentioned in his in the Night's Watch last review, I forgot his name.
Oh, DS Baru.
Yeah, DS Baru. That's it.
Yeah.
Wait, I lost my train of thought. What did he say again?
What's a good Amazon show?
Oh, right. He meant I think he pulled up the survey that they used, and the conditions for it were utter bullshit.
What's a good Amazon show? Sneaky Pete. That's a good show. I like that show. That was a fun show. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's pretty good.
Now, I have been watching some weird animes, though. Well, always got to find time for a weird anime.
Yeah.
Well, the
But they have
Cristo anime was freaking weird.
They have ghost stories on Amazon, I think.
Really? Oh, really?
We can never be together. Not because you're a bunny, not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black.
On the inside.
So good.
Have you guys ever seen? So one thing that I've recently binge watched Suits and Mad Men, just cause. And one of the things that I found exceptionally amusing was at one point a like ginger white woman said to two black women, "I'm black in here," pointing to her heart.
Is it because she
and
smokes?
They both give her a sideways looks, and I thought, that's weird. No,
like,
it's actually because she knows somebody, and then she shows the picture to one of the black women, an elderly black woman, and she says, "Black inside? She's black all over."
Bruh.
Yeah. Suits is surprisingly based.
He's like, yeah, I'm black on the inside. I have lung cancer.
Not even because she smokes, so that she's like she know. It doesn't say who she knows, but all it takes for her to say it for the black woman, the literal black woman, not nobody else, just a black woman to say she's black all over, is to show a picture of somebody she knows. And it's just like, wow, I'm amazed you got away with that. That is impressive.
Oh, did you see there was that Jimmy Carr thing where it was like what was it? It was like the roast of someone, and it was I can't remember who it was, but basically I think his dad had died had died in the World Trade Center on 9/11, and he basically made a joke about the guy's dad unrelated to that, and they said, sorry, this isn't the roast of whatever of this guy's dad, that was in 9/11. And it was like bruh, it was quite a bruh moment.
That is impressive.
Jimmy Carr is quite a he can go there sometimes. He can go for the spicy ones.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the Wheel of Time. One other thing that shows how much of a moron is, one of the viewings Min mentions to her flat out is there are a bunch of fireflies flying all around them, trying to fill up darkness. It means they're connected somehow. So she takes just Rand to the Eye of the World.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very smart idea, moron.
And then we have Perrin saying, "Oh, I've never loved another woman." You know, like
I don't think that's
another
a
woman.
I don't think that's a reference to him and Rand being gay.
Kind of sus. Kind of sus.
Rand doesn't need to be gay for Perrin to have a gay crush on him.
Well, she says that Machin Shin, the purveyor of objective truth and facts and logic, says you loved another woman more than your wife. So, considering that most of everything that what Machin Shin says is true, I'm gonna believe Machin Shin.
It just has the voice of Ben Shapiro, and it's just like, there's no way a shrimp fried that rice. It's just not logical.
Oh man, people would get so pissed. That would be amazing. I would love to see like Ben Shapiro as the Machin Shin memes. I want that so bad. People would get so pissed.
Like he's telling one of them, they put something in the water. It turned the frickin' frogs gay.
Now that's Alex Jones, but that would also be hilarious.
Oh.
No, actually I will not follow this recipe because it says I have to season liberally. Nice try, liberals.
Yeah. But yeah, we could totally do that with Machin Shin. Like, aren't there a bunch of isn't there already a meme out there where it's Trump as Machin Shin?
Well, I do know that like yesterday, I had a bit of like you remember how like Agomar was character assassinated by making him just a guy who put upon just like this arrogant dumbass who was like, no, we got this. We don't need any Aes Sedai help. Sawed off. We don't need any help. We've held back armies of Trollocs that would make even an Aes Sedai blanch, and it's just like.
Hi. First of all, like hi with there's no fucking tactics whatsoever. Oh my god, the fact that they don't bring their channelers to the wall where all the Trollocs are like bunched up together and they could do way more effective like damage. Like, what are you doing? Why are they like a fucking field like length away from the fucking what by the point they've gotten past that wall? What is the point of even fucking being there? You should be at the top of that wall or like firing through the like arrow slits and shit. Like what are you doing?
Well, they read the script. Yeah,
and also the fact that you can burn out people that are in your like if you're in charge of the circle, you can burn out people that are in the circle.
So basically, when Egwene is in the Shan thing in the during the Shan attack on Tarvalin, she's gonna burn out a bunch of novices. Great.
Oh my god, no!
Oh no!
Oh, they're definitely.
Right.
Oh, if they get to that point, they will definitely do that, and then it'll be this whole big thing. But then they don't want to do that because then that would make Egwene look bad. But I don't know how they've because they've kind of made it so that if that doesn't happen, that's kind of dumb. If it does happen, it makes Egwene look evil. Like
so, it makes Egwene look like a complete psycho.
They kind of fucked it either way.
Yeah, can't be Mary Gwaine Al-Sue if she does something bad.
She hasn't even really done anything like Super Mary Sue-ish.
Well, see, it was able to channel under stress enough to like free both herself and Perrin with no help from Perrin. Like Perrin did nothing to help in that situation. It was entirely her.
And she resurrected Nynaeve.
She resurrected Nynaeve.
Well, did she resurrect Nynaeve or did Nynaeve resurrect Nynaeve? Do you know what I mean?
It was a group effort.
I feel like Nynaeve just like did it herself.
Maybe Nynaeve was able to get back up through the power of sheer lesbian energy.
Nynaeve isn't a lesbian. She screwed Lan.
I mean, he's kind of a woman at this point anyway.
Yeah. Don't you just?
And also he can teleport. You know, he can just teleport to the middle of the flight to the fucking eye of the world. You know, it's pretty impressive. You know.
Yeah, but he's not.
Well, we do have teleporting Trolloc armies. If you hadn't noticed, the Trolloc army that goes to attack Valdar completely misses Rand and Moraine. They don't even see it until they're almost at the gap.
Yeah. Oh, they were coming from different directions somehow.
Not even different directions. They're going in the same direction. They're going opposed to each other. It makes no sense.
Can I also just say the Trollocs looked really bad in that one part where like it was still quite bright, you know, like the CGI looked really dodgy in that like shot, you know, where it's
it looked unfinished. It looked like it looked like something out of a PS4.
Like
Well,
it
they'll
looked
patch
like
it later.
it looked like when you're playing a game and the textures haven't loaded in, or like they're just at the edge of the draw distance.
Don't underestimate those low poly textures. I think Colts has started around the low polygon textured Final Fantasy 14 grapes.
And also, the fact that Rand doesn't get his moment. He doesn't get his cool fucking kind of thing at the gap.
Letting loose.
The fact that I don't think there's in the books there's an actual wall there at the gap, is there?
Nope.
But
it's
I
just
don't-
an empty thing.
I don't mind them adding a wall there. Like I don't
Yeah,
mind there
that's
being a
fine.
wall
That
there.
actually
That
makes
makes
sense.
complete sense, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it would add. It's a force. It's a force multiplier.
Yeah. So there's no reason not to have a wall there, but they do nothing with it, and it's the shittiest, like most fragile wall.
Yeah, a bunch of
It's
Trollocs
so
with
bad.
pickaxes. Take it down.
Like if you're gonna have a wall, it should be like fucking huge, and it should be thick as fuck. Like look how thin that wall is. Like it's so fucking thin.
And they don't make good use of, anything with that wall either. Like, get rid
Where's
of
the
the
fucking
arrow.
boiling oil?
Yeah, just put boiling oil at the top. Seal up the entire. Don't seal up the inside of the wall. Don't have arrow slits. Fire from the top of it. Trollocs don't have siege equipment.
Yeah, they don't. That's another thing. Yeah, the fact that they don't have siege equipment at all, that there's no they should not be getting through that at all. They should be able to hold that for days.
They shouldn't have any arrow slits at all.
Well, one of the greatest commanders in the world would have been able to hold off that Trolloc army. A shame none of them were there for it.
It's just so bad. And also, like, they should have had like rows and rows and rows of archers, like well behind like the wall, like like standing, quite a bit behind, and then just doing volleys, like over the wall. Like it's so many. Like I'm not a tactics expert or anything. I've just played some Total War, sometimes. But it's like this is like basic shit. And this character who's supposed to be intelligent, well, he's supposed to be intelligent, but I don't know if he's intelligent in the show. But like,
he's clearly not, because of just how he interacts with Moraine, where it's like he's a put upon manager at Walmart having to deal with an angry Karen.
Well, to be fair, that does describe Moron pretty accurately.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, she sicks the Redija on Matt out of spite.
Yeah, for reasons. And it's just, why? What's the point? You should tell your informants to find it and make sure you're okay.
it's just why? It's so many like things where it's just you're just going out of your way to make it as like dumb as possible. Like this is so silly. And Padan Fane, like what even is, because clearly there's nothing has happened to Padan Fane. There's no indication that he's had anything to do with Shadar Logoth. So he has no connection to it or anything. So he's just like he's not like because Padan Fane by the end he's like by the end of the story overall he's like merged with Mordeth, and he merges with Machin Shin as well, like kind of.
Yeah. Well, Machin Shin doesn't hurt him because he's so vile that even the Black Wind sees him and says,
but like he takes on the mist.
Blood. Yeah, he takes on the mist, but that's
Mashadar.
That's Mashadar, not Machin Shin.
I thought he didn't have that until like way later.
It wasn't until at this point in the books, Padan Fane is a butt monkey.
Well, that's the weird thing about his white mist thing. Ostensibly he has it in 7. When we thought that was a bubble of evil, when in reality it's
that's like him, and it follows him everywhere, or like goes even ahead of him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Palan Fian. See, at this point in the books, he was, much more Gollum-ified, kind of, and pathetic.
He was basically the butt of a joke.
And also, you don't get you don't get the kind of Hannibal Lecter-esque moment, where you're talking to him in the dungeon.
Which, yeah, and I just
such a cool scene.
It was a cool scene. And
a cool scene.
I don't get anything about what is happening with this stupid ass show. It doesn't make any sense. And also just that whole thing, so much for your feminist thing where Egwene and Nynaeve are basically useless during the battle. They're just being used as portable batteries.
But the fact that Nynaeve, especially the fact that she can even do that, what happened to the block? Her main character arc. You know what I mean? The main character arc of the character of being able to overcome this block.
Yeah, yeah. They seem to have done away with the block, or they treat it weirdly because the only times Nynaeve channels on her own are under extreme duress. But then she's able to join in that link with what's her name.
Yeah,
so
she's able to just calmly, open herself to the source and just do it. And it's see, if they then bring up the block later as a whole big thing, then that's what the fuck then?
Yeah, they're gonna have to retcon it to that moment, and they might have to change what emotion she feels. Because
the funniest thing, this was written by the showrunner himself.
See, the problem is.
So
I have to feel horny to channel.
And so
I can only channel when I'm horny.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always horny.
That'll be a great idea for a superhero that they have to be horny.
Yeah, they pull up a bikini picture of Adriana Lima or something, or Angie Everhart in her prime, or some Playboy model or whatever.
Well, I think Star Fox makes everyone horny. Kind of the inverse, I guess.
Bruh. I'm just... Yeah, so they kind of... It's weird. So they've kind of made Nynaeve into this kind of walking Deus Ex Machina, where she can just kind of, par nuke any kind of threat at any kind of time, and she can heal anything at any time, but they've kind of fucked her character arc. So it's weird because it's there's clearly stuff they're doing where it's it's female empowerment and we're gonna give them all these empowering things, but they've taken out the character arcs by doing certain things, by having her be able to just easily join in this link, and it's well, you've kind of fucked her character arc as well. So it's
also you can't have the Great Hunt as written. They have completely screwed themselves over. Now they have to come up with so much contrived nonsense.
Well, didn't they also
make it work?
Didn't they also kill off?
Yeah. No, Loyal is alive according to a press release.
But he was,
even though
wasn't he stabbed
stabbed
with the dagger? He was stabbed with the dagger.
Yes, he was.
What even happened to the fucking dagger? Why they would just put it under a fucking blanket and we never see it again? I was what the fuck? Why isn't this locked up? What the fuck? What the fuck?
And then abruptly Padan Fane has it. It was somewhat plausible. It was plausible in the book because he stole it off of Matt when he broke out. That makes sense. This, we
needed a scene of this being, because this should have been put straight to the vault, straight to the Tarvalin, in the basement, This should have been okay, but put this somewhere, put this in the, where we keep all the things,
Yeah, but we can't
don't touch it.
Yeah, but we can't be cautious with things like that. No, can't have that. But anyway, I was gonna ask. Well, what about Uno and Inktakar? Weren't they in the same room as Loyal?
Yep.
And they killed those two off, and that causes problems.
Wait. I must have missed this. Did they kill off Uno? They killed off.
Yeah, they killed off Uno.
What the fuck? I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice.
Well,
Like,
that's
What the
because
fuck?
that's
I don't
because they
even-
gave us a fake out death with Loyal at the same time.
No!
Look,
they-
that was awesome.
I
Screw
can't
you.
fucking believe this, bro.
Yeah, so they essentially, well, they baited the death of one fan favorite and actually killed off another fan favorite because of, I don't know, stupid reasons.
What
Because
the fuck? Ah, God.
it was
Can't-
really bad.
just-
The show is really bad.
Ah.
Like really, really freaking bad. I understand people thinking that it's good because of your bias. It's not. Even as its own thing, divorced from the books, this is a bad show. It makes no sense in its own stupid universe. It makes no sense. It is even worse as an adaptation, but it is still awful as a show. And just the fact that it's a stupid adaptation makes it even worse. When you had pretty dang good source material to work with, and they just put in 5 and 6, which 5 and 6 are just awful. Those are stupid. Why are you just like, are you just so impatient to get the Great Hunt that you just put stuff from the Great Hunt in there without a whole lot, with removing the context, and also while screwing yourselves over going into the Great Hunt? Why are you doing this? It makes no sense. And it's just, there's people that are going to go, maybe that'll improve in season 2. It's like, no. Unless, no.
No, they've
These
written
people-
themselves into a corner.
They've written themselves into a massive corner.
No, it's a tiny corner. That's the point. It's the small little corner that they can escape
Yeah.
from.
They have
Oh,
written themselves
Lord.
into a massive pit, I think I should say, that they can't get out of. Like Rand is in the Blight, miles and miles from anything edible. He's going to die of starvation out there.
But he has
yeah,
no
that's his
like
point,
goal.
but
Do you know what I mean, he has
yeah.
no like he's you know, there's nothing like that he's going towards, you know. In the books he has a pretty concrete goal, you know. There's a aim, you know. I
He
feel
just
like
wants to be away from other people, but then again, he is just not doing anything. Like, he has no aims or vision or whatever. Like, and now like he's in Faldar because he feels like he should be. Now that's completely done away with because he's in the middle of nowhere. I get the feeling that they're just gonna shove Lanfear in like there because that's the
what
only
in the
way
Blight?
he is.
Just
Yeah,
like he just randomly walks in there in the Blight.
yeah, that's the only way I can think of to organically introduce Lanfear, because like that's what they've written themselves into. That's the corner that they've written themselves into, because Rand no longer has a way of getting out of the Blight without like major contrivances happening.
I think it's another annoying thing is like things that they could have done. You know, you could write a whole we could write a whole book on things they could have done, a whole series of books. No, but they could have set up a whole load of prophecies way earlier, you know, than they are in the books. You know, they could have done a lot more to plant the seeds of all of these prophecies, you know, in the minds of the viewers. You know, if
Could have,
we
but they
don't
didn't.
we don't know at this point. We only hear about the horn in this episode, right? Like we in it, right? Like we haven't been hearing about the horn and how in the last days there'll be the horn, and we'll have to get the horn, and they'll call the heroes and blah, 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 you know, stuff like that. Stuff like, you know, even like Kalendor, you know, like it would have been really good to hear about that kind of thing earlier, so that then we have so we kind of know what some of these prophecies are, you know.
Well, there's the thing. Kalendor is mentioned in the first frickin' book.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just it's so dumb because it's like you had so much opportunity to set up this stuff, you know, and it's just so bad. It's so bad because there's no like, where does like Bran just has no, he's just
He has no
aimless,
aims.
just aimless. It's just like going nowhere.
Well, ironically, for a season that ends on a cliffhanger, it seems like they don't have any long-term plans for this TV series.
Which is so weird. Like, Brandon Sanderson's reading the initial scripts for season 2 right now, and I'm just like, like,
be honest with them, Brandon. It's crap. It's crap.
yeah, he's been astonishingly kind to these people. I honestly admire his restraint in not just reaming them up their bungholes like in absolute anger. But that's because Brandon Sanderson is a cinnamon roll of a human being.
I think he also wants to, you know, to leave the door open for adaptations of some of his stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to burn any bridges, you know.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to like come off as that author who will actively like complain that when his work when specific things come up.
It's so fucking stupid that Loyal is stabbed with the actual dagger, the dagger. It's so dumb.
Unless they're gonna reason that it stabbed one of the books he always has in his pockets, you know, something they never established.
It's covered in blood. It is covered from fucking tip to fucking crossguard in blood.
Yeah, and his chest, where his heart should be, has a pretty big blood stain on it.
Oh, then that's my B. But no, yeah, he totally survived that. Yeah, I mean, he's an Ogier. Oh, speaking of which, you want an example of a plot hole just in the TV series? Here you go. So, Rand didn't know what an Ogier was. He mispronounced it as ogre, yet he knows exactly what the ways are, because everybody knows those stories. There you go.
Because
how can he know what? Yeah, how can he know what the ways are if he doesn't know what an Ogier is?
Yeah, like most people, even if they haven't seen an Ogier, they've heard of Ogier. You know, they just never seen them.
I hate this show. This show is awful.
It really makes me think about like, you know, like Game of Thrones, like season 1.
You had clear goals and motivations for each character, clear obstacles for them to overcome. And like that's the problem. Episode 5 and 6, there are no obstacles for the characters to overcome other than the stupid White Cloak oak nonsense. That took 5 minutes to fix because Egwene is a strong independent woman.
I think that there is a certain extent to, even if they did like as good an adaptation as they could, which obviously they didn't, I feel like Game of Thrones still makes a better TV show than Wheel of Time because it's set up more like a soap opera where you have these different characters with these different storylines that can be relatively independent of each other, because Wheel of Time is so kind of goal oriented, if that makes sense. Like it's there's one singular goal that all the action is about. I mean, in Game of Thrones, there's the Iron Throne, but there's a whole load of other things. Like it's only way later that there's all these different factions actually trying to vie for the Iron Throne, you know? Like at the start, they all have their own little goals. Daenerys has like, my brother is a dickhead, and I want to, you know, kind of rise up in the par in the Dothraki like society, right? And you have Jon Snow, who just kind of wants to prove his worth to, you know, first to like the family, right? To prove that he's worthy of Ned and all that he deserves, you know, their affection, or like trying to earn the like the trust or respect of what's her name? The what's she called? Catherine?
Catelyn Stark.
Catelyn?
Yeah.
Like he's trying to so he's kind of and then when he goes to the wall, it's like trying to kind of climb up the ranks, but also just it's all about respect. It's all about earning people's respect and stuff. And like so you have all of these different characters and goals, and they've got little like intermediary goals. And it's here like in Wheel of Time, it's all about the main conflict. Like it's all about like fighting the Dark One. So there's no real break from it. You can't just go like, oh, I like this storyline, and you can kind of separate, like to a certain extent, you can separate like the Daenerys storyline from like the Wall storyline, or like the King's Landing storyline, and just be like, I like this part of it, and so different people can latch on to different parts. It's kind of hard to do that with Wheel of Time.
Yeah, well, it's just kind of tough to make Wheel of Time more like Game of Thrones in generals, because Game of Thrones had more sex appeal in the show and on the page, and the Wheel of Time was very PG-13, I guess.
At least in terms of what the sexual content.
And it's also the characters, like the main characters, are flawed in much more like mundane ways, kind of. Whereas like in Game of Thrones, people are it's kind of like it's like in Breaking Bad, where characters are trying to like hide things from each other. There's sort of the thrill of getting away with it. Where in Wheel of Time, you don't really get any characters that embody that archetype of a character that you want to see get away with kind of bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're all quite noble, like mostly like the protagonists, are pretty noble people, and Game of Thrones has like one, like in any given season, there's only really like one character that's like pretty noble. I mean, obviously in the first, it's
on Johnny Boy,
Ned,
Jon Snow, and Ned. Yeah,
like Ned is like the main, like most honorable one in the first one, and then it's Jon mainly. I mean, Rob is kind of, but also not really. Like, I feel like
Rob's a little bit more pragmatic in some ways.
Yeah, he's a little bit more like into the kind of Machiavellian side of it. Like he's willing to do things for the sake of power, whereas Jon is like the more reluctant.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he gets power, he's reluctant about it. So he's more like the archetypical, like almost like Aragorn like type.
Yeah.
Of like noble leader,
King and king
whereas,
in waiting, technically,
yeah. And I suppose like Lan is kind of that character in Wheel of Time, but all of the characters are kind of that kind of noble idea, and of like all of the main three boys, all kind of they get power, they get positions of power, and they're all kind of reluctant about it. So they all kind of fit that same archetype.
Yeah.
But then you have Egwene who kind of she doesn't seem that reluctant about it. Like the boys seem pretty reluctant when they get power, but Egwene is like pretty much like no, I am the best person though. Like I am the best.
Mm-hmm.
Like even in the books, like I'm saying, like she's pretty much like no, I am the best. Like I literally am the best though. So I understand.
Yeah. That's the issue. Why Egwene's character? She's so bland in this show. Other than when she's railing about Matt. That's the most personality she gets, or when she's like being pissy at Valda.
I feel like aging up the characters really. I feel like Egwene is hurt more by it because her character arc in the books is defined by going from kind of naive and sheltered to more like world weary and more like, okay, I got to be pragmatic, I got to be kind of sneaky about things, I got to be intelligent about interacting with people and getting people on my side and things. Whereas like at the very, very start, she's probably the most innocent and naive of the main five, I'd say.
Yeah, I would concur.
Yeah,
Is,
I just really don't like Egwene in the or show Egwene because she just comes across as well schizophrenic, I suppose is the right word. She just does whatever her actions and behaviors are just whatever the writers need her to be or need her to be doing to get
kind of a
whatever
placeholder.
across.
Yeah, she's kind of. It's kind of a. We need one of the characters to have this opinion at this point. I need one of the characters to be this side of the argument, and all the other characters are going to be this. So Egwene is going to fill that role.
Yeah, so she's at first defiant to Moron because we need exposition about how the three oaths work, and then she's all gung ho about following Moron because we need someone to be the voice of reason among the Emon's Field kids. And then she's scared of Valda because someone needs to be scared of Valda, and Perrin's tied up at the moment. But then she's not scared of Valda because we can't have a woman being weak in front of a man.
I feel like that scene, in terms of the world building of like the Pard, it just annoyed me because I feel like that is the exact moment to show her like failing. That is the exact point where it would be really good for her to fail to channel because it's like she can't stay calm. Like she can't calm her. That would be a great moment. You know what I mean? Like that would be so good if she could just not. She couldn't make herself be calm enough to seize the source, and then Perrin, breaks out with his like wolf strength or something. And then he's the one who. That would be a really interesting moment for Egwene, because then it would be like, oh, I that's why I need to go to the Tar so that they can teach me, so that I'll never have this situation again.
Or if she was. That was actually a suggestion that Sanderson had, that like the ending of season 1 should have had Egwene and Nynaeve feeling like they need to go to the Tower, but in this it's like they succeed and then
there's no failing moment. There's no like, look, we need someone to teach us. There's we can't do this on our own. We need someone who's done this for a long time, who's learned how to do it, who's been taught how to do it. We need someone to teach us. But it doesn't feel like that in the show. It feels like we don't need anyone. We can just do it.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. And like an idea would have been, this was actually an idea that Sanderson suggested when he was doing the live watch with Dusty Wheel in his supervillain lair, which I have been in. Like literally, Brandon Sanderson has a supervillain lair, underground supervillain lair that he has constructed with a massive theater and a Magic the Gathering shrine. It's so cool. I wish I could take pictures.
No pictures allowed.
At least I don't think so. I think it would be rude since it's his private property.
I can't fucking believe they actually killed Uno.
Yeah.
I'm so that's
you can tell they haven't read the books, otherwise they'd understand how incredibly important Uno is.
And he said he's going to kill more characters that didn't die. And I feel like the reasoning he gives is really bad, because he basically says, the reason that that we need to kill more characters, because if we don't kill characters, then people just won't. They'll just be bored. Essentially, it'll be too boring, and people will just stop watching. And it's such a childish view of like entertainment that like nobody's dead, nobody's dying. There's no drama here.
Well, that's the thing. Robert Jordan doesn't go the same route as George R. R. Martin, where George R. R. Martin is free to be the literary most prolific anti-prolific serial killer, since he hasn't written anything in years. Aside from a small history book. But Robert Jordan just tortured his characters and made them suffer.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, like, how are they even going to do Perrin's like arc in the Two Rivers? Like, because we don't like.
Yeah, what family?
Yeah, what family? Like,
all your families. What family?
It's kind of what family in the books too, to a certain extent, But
we didn't know their names though. I think we did.
I think he mentioned, or he thinks about their names in that chapter when he goes back. But yeah, we don't really get to meet the
they're not
Ibarra family.
characterized. Yeah, the only thing that we referenced is just the Ibarra farm got attacked. That was the extent of it. And I think maybe like he thinks about his siblings before. Like, I honestly think that they seriously rushed Emmons Field. They should have spent 2 episodes in Emmons Field establishing the characters, because the whole thing with the first 3 episodes, they feel extremely rushed. Condensing massive material. Then you get to 4, which is condensing even more material while also dragging material out.
I'd like
then
adding
episode
extra
5.
stuff.
And then you get to episode 5, which is cut massive stuff and then is drag on top of it.
Like, all you needed to be like, oh, we need to show the warder bond. Bro, literally all you need is have the fucking warder kill himself at the end of the fucking episode. That's it. And we
Or
don't
at
need
the
to see the
beginning.
fucking funeral. Right? We don't need to see the fucking funeral, okay? We don't need a whole fucking ceremony. It's
Or
not
even
needed.
Or even just have him like die at the beginning of this 5th episode. Just have him like just go off into a river and drown himself or something.
I think like you could have at the start of the episode, they go into his tent and then they see that he's like killed himself, like, or he's like stabbed himself in the stomach or something. You know, they go, oh, have you seen him? You know, is he awake? And then they go into his tent and then they see that he's killed himself. And then you have like, you don't have a full scene. You just have like,
you don't have multiple scenes. Like, there's a lot of time devoted to this whole thing.
Yeah, but you don't have this whole big, really dumb, like crying, like tearing the shirt off thing. You don't need that. All you need is, they like wrap him up and bomb him or whatever, and then you go 1 month later and whatever. We don't need the whole fucking episode to be about this shit. It's just so unnecessary.
Agreed. Just so much unnecessary like filler, while at the same time rushing a lot of important material. Me and my dad were talking about this, and we were just like, this is Rafe Judkins' inferior fan fiction of the Wheel of Time. That's all this is. It is very poorly written. They're in large sections. They've rushed a ton of stuff that should have been given a lot more time to breathe. They've really fundamentally do not understand why the Dragon Reborn is important, or they have deliberately said, we don't care. We're just going to make. We just want to make a mystery because we think that that's what TV audiences want. Because we must worship at the altar of the hack himself, Jar Abrams. Even though Jar Jar Abrams is a freaking moron and made Rise of Skywalker the worst Star Wars
is, like,
movie.
Lost is better than this. Like, if you watch the first season of Lost, it's way better than this. Even with all the mystery box shit, it's what makes it good, what makes it entertaining, is the fact that you feel like there are plausible explanations, right? But this has outright contradictory stuff, like things that literally just there's no way that could make sense. But in the first season of Lost, you're like, there could be an explanation. Okay,
I'll allow it. Let's see what it goes.
Yeah. So as you're watching it, you're not like, oh, this is dumb. This doesn't make sense, because like the beat to the kind of story beat to story beat stuff makes sense. Like the motivation makes sense. They're like stuff like, oh, we're gonna build a raft. Why do we want to build a raft? We want to build a raft because we want to get off the island. And it's self-explanatory why they want to get off the island. So that's why episode to episode, Lost is entertaining, and it, like, it's good. Like, it's good stuff. There's good acting, good, like, good story stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there's all that mystery box shit,
Mm-hmm.
But so. This just doesn't. It just doesn't have that. It just doesn't have the internal logic on an episode to episode basis. But yeah, that first episode, the thing is, like, I can understand not wanting to spend too long in the Two Rivers, but the thing that really annoyed me was the fact that it seems like everyone in the Two Rivers just lives in this like semicircle. Like they
Yeah.
literally just live there. Like it doesn't, like, it seems like the blacksmith it's literally just like there. Like everything's just there. You know, like, and it's not just the blacksmith, but it's like the forge. It's like that's his house. You know, that's where he lives. You know, it's so there's no like. It just seems kind of silly because it's like the fact that there's the different farms in the book. It's a lot easier to go. Okay, they're obviously after you, and like Moraine knows it's because they're the right age. And the fact that their farms are attacked. And so she's like, okay, well, there are other people living at those farms, but it's probably these three that all happen to be the right age for this prophecy that I know. So it makes complete sense. Right.
Yeah.
But it's so silly because it just feels like everyone in Emmonsfield or the Two Rivers or whatever, it just feels like all of the main characters just live in this one like semicircle.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it feel like it's weird. It's like it makes it feel even smaller than a small village should feel. Like it feels like a you know, like a set in a play. You know.
Yeah, it does.
Well, you know, the count in the chat, he makes an excellent point. Rafe Judkins has the same initials as Robert Jordan, so that means everything he says is right and true.
Lorraine.
True.
Lorraine shipping? You mean Lan and Moraine? We read the books. We know exactly where who Lan and Moraine end up with. And Lan ends up with Nynaeve at the end, and Nirina at the end of this season.
Yeah,
so,
no, just like any other book. Well, no, just like any other book readers, obviously the only thing we care about is the shipping. Oh my goodness.
Yes, Queen. Did you see what they did last episode? It was so... Oh my gosh.
Wow, Queen. Go off. Go off, Queen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what do you even say? I mean, it's just it's so also
bad.
the sword looks bad also.
Oh yeah.
The sword looks bad.
Yeah, the Harrenmark sword looks terrible. It's not even that it's a katana.
It's so
like
cheap.
It looks cheap. Like it looks awful. Like it looks like something that you could buy for like, I don't know, $600 online as opposed to Loyal and Moraine.
Like it's weird that like if like the swords from Lord of the Rings, like you can get like replicas of, you know, where you can get like Anduril
as well,
and like Sting and everything, even though they're ostensibly like they're just swords, but like they still look iconic and they still look like, oh yeah, that's that sword, you know, that's Sting, that's Anduril, that's Glamdring, that's, you know,
or even Longclaw and Ice and
Oathkeeper,
you know, all of those sort, and even Widow's Wail, even though it shows up less times, it's still iconic look. It still
they
looks
look
iconic.
Sick. They look sick. You're like, oh hell yeah, I'd love to have that like on my wall or like on a display stand, you know.
Which in the case of Orcrist, Ice, and Longclaw, I actually do own those swords. They were expensive, but they were worth it.
Because it would have been so good to have the fucking, because it's supposed to have it's like quillins that look like they look like braids. It's like it's like metal. Like that would have been sick. That would have been fucking sick, bro.
Yeah, there's a really excellent Harrenmark sword image. Let me actually pull it up right here. Open image, new tab. Like, take a look at this. Doesn't this look cool? Doesn't this look so cool?
That is indeed a sword.
Yeah, those look cool. I would totally buy those. And the fact that, like, that's just a fan recreation. That's not something that, like, That's not like a film thing. That is just something that a fan made, and it looks way better. And that's
you mean
badly designed katana.
Yeah, you mean a fan made something more accurate to the books than Rafe Judkins? Color me surprised.
Not just more accurate, it just looks cooler. This stupid Herodmark blade thing that they have looks like a terrible katana. It looks like a really bad katana. I'm just like, why? There is no point behind this. What were you thinking?
I like this one. I posted it in the Discord.
Discord.
Let me pull it up and share then. Yeah, that's the one that I had. Yeah, that's the one I was showing you just now.
That one's fucking sick with the braided cross guard. It looks so fucking good, man.
Yeah, that looks great.
And you can see exactly how it would like burn into his hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's
Even the sheath.
You know?
Even the sheath looks cooler.
Yeah.
What the heck?
It's so fucking annoying. It's like, like looks.
But
it looks
you know,
so
Amazon's a poor company. It's not like they can have the budget to make things look nice.
It's not even.
Fuck.
See, look, that has a cool like fucking wolf medallion thing.
Even like the Witcher's sword looks better. Like his crossguard looks better. Like it's crossguard. It's like the crossguard. The what is it? Like the medallion that's on it. Geralt's sword looks iconic. This looks like crap. This looks terrible. I don't get why something that a fan made. Like I've seen fan made swords from Lord of the Rings pre Tolkien, pre Lord of the Rings adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
They don't look as good as the swords from the movies. Game of Thrones, the swords the fan swords that they made were pretty cool, but I still like the swords from the show. Will no one weep for Bezos? Bezos can go screw himself with a cactus for all I care.
It's just so much like missed opportunities, like so much like they could have done like this and they could have done the other thing and they could have been really good. It's like,
Could have done something amazing, and they did something crap.
Like, what are you waiting for? Something amazing, I guess.
No, me too. Me too.
Heartless, yes, and proud of it.
What's a heart?
It got ripped out of me a long time ago.
Darkness, light, hearts, darkness, light, hearts, light, darkness, hearts, kingdom, hearts, kingdom, darkness, hearts, kingdom, light, dark, heart, darkness, hearts, light, dark, heart, kingdom, heart, darkness, hearts.
Thank you. That really cleared it up.
Yes, it did. Father of the
Did someone mention the door to darkness? Oh, oh boy!
Man, that's a freaking weird. That's a freaking weird game series. The games are freaking weird.
Yeah.
Well, it's a mixture of Final Fantasy and Disney of all things. Of course, it was going to be weird. Oh, speaking of weird, the Wheel of Time TV show is crap. Don't watch it. But do watch our reactions to it because those are amazing.
Yep.
Or at least not as crap as the show.
Oh, weird. Well, we actually are funny. The show is not.
I told a joke once.
Mm-hmm. I hate this show with a fiery passion.
Do you want to hear another joke, Murray?
How about a joke, Murray? The good news is you won the Hearts card game. I don't even know what that's a reference to.
I know. I also carded the dark lightness of the dark hearts.
Yeah.
The only thing I kind of just now want our good friend Smudboy to be forced to explain the Kingdom Hearts in as much detail as he did with Dragon Age Inquisition. I think it would legitimately break his brain. And it would be hilarious to watch.
Does he have to do it in 30 minutes or less?
No, he has to do it in multiple hours.
Oh. Okay. I don't know much about Kingdom Hearts. I only played the bad one, or one of the bad ones. That Chain of Memories they put on the Game Boy Advance.
Chain of Memories, Dream Drop Distance, Chapter 2.8.
Even like we haven't even talked about Tom. They thoroughly Tom is so bad. That was really. Oh,
yeah.
You know, character-wise, he's not even the same.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of screen time to work with. He shows up, mugs Matt. Well, no, just robs, not mugs. Mugs would imply holding him at knife point.
He just picks Matt's pocket. That's all he does.
Yeah, he saves the boys twice, and then he's dead.
The fact that he's not in the first episode, you know, I feel like it's because they had to have this whole stupid fucking ceremony. It's a pointless, like, it's just waste of screen time. It's a waste of screen time. It adds fucking nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't.
They could have had Tom. They could have had Tom doing some fucking banging tunes, you know? I love the idea of Tom. Like the songs that he does are like to the tune of like famous pop songs, but it's like, you know, because of like the turning of the wheel or whatever. That
would be great.
The tunes are like modern like pop songs, but it's all like the kind of Wheel of Timey like lore type lyrics, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that would be really cool,
like,
you know.
Yeah, or even like the fact that they just kind of cut Mordeth out to the detriment of the show.
Well, yeah, it's not gonna. Well, no Mordeth. That means that we have no explanation for how Fane has a connection to Shadar Logoth, unless they're going to have him be Mordeth right from the start, which makes even less sense.
If there was Mordeth in a show, right, in a TV adaptation of Wheel of Time, who would you get to play Mordeth?
If I had permission to use any actor, I would choose Alan Cummings, the guy who played Floop in the Spy iKids movies.
No,
he's just a slimy weasel.
I don't really know actor names.
You know the you know, like the main bad guy from Spy Kids. The guy who makes the things, the thumb guys,
the thumbs,
and he makes the like the robots in the second one, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're thumbs.
Who, what, where, when, and why? He's a madman. Help us, save us! He's a madman. Help us, save us!
Yeah, but I don't know who I'd cast. I don't know really anything about actors and stuff. I barely even know some of their names.
That would be, I don't know who I would cast. Honestly, I just do not know who I would cast. I just know that, like, I'd pick probably someone like, I don't know. Just somebody who is like good at like being a slimy bugger.
Fucking Danny DeVito.
That would be awesome in a completely messed up, stupid fashion.
I can kind of see it, like I can kind of like yeah, okay. It's a very weird character, to be fair. I mean, he only really shows up as a character, like as an actor. If it was played by an actor, like he only really shows up as like a person once.
Yeah, that's true.
Fucking The Rock. Just Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I'm running out of ideas on things to talk about.
Yeah, I am too. It's just this whole season was exceptionally rushed and stupid. I don't understand why they made certain creative decisions. Would it be right if someone who never read the books adapted and it was still better?
Well, as long as they know how to write a story better than Rafe Judkins, then it probably would turn out better.
Yeah, there was Wheel of Time adaptation that was just like that. It was called Legend of the Seeker.
Yeah, Legend of the Seeker is actually like Legend of the Seeker is actually fun, and it's like that's a better adaptation of Wheel of Time than Wheel of
Oh, should we tell people that the Legend of the Seeker is the better adaptation of the Wheel of Time? I wonder how many non-book readers would believe that.
It has a heroic chosen one narrative that works. Yeah, Legend of the Seeker is great. Yes, exactly. Legend of the Seeker is amazing. It is so fun. It is one of my favorite shows, and it got canceled way too early.
It's so campy, but it's just comforting. It's just.
Yeah, it's such a fun show. Like it's good comfort food, and it's free on ABC. Like you don't need to pay anything to watch it legally. You just need to have ad block.
Oh yeah, I was going to say the White Cloaks in what was it? Is it 2? Is it 2?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, so that was really dumb. But it's really dumb because it makes so much more sense in the books because they're in a town. It makes so much more sense that they're able to get away because they don't have a confrontation with them directly. They're not in the middle of nowhere where the White Cloaks can just basically. There's no one to stop them from doing anything, but because they're in a town in the books, they can avoid them.
How is it that the show with a time travel plot in the last episode, apropos of nothing, is still more engaging than this?
Yeah, like you can really tell that this show has no connection to the Wheel of Time because if you change the name of the series and the name of the characters and the locations, it would be unrecognizable as a Wheel of Time related thing.
Yep. But it just doesn't. This show is terrible. It makes no sense, even as its own thing.
Yeah, it doesn't keep continuity within itself. Like Nynaeve didn't get a chance to yell at Swan about, "Oh, you rejected my mentor because she was poor," and then Swan's like, "Bitch, I'm poor."
I know. I blocked it with extreme prejudice.
And you don't get the. We hang on. We didn't get the moment where I think that isn't that supposed to happen in. Is the first book that happens, or is it later? The part where it's like Nynaeve and Swan, where
that's in
Swan like holds her.
That's
the second book.
They moved
like at the start, though, isn't it? Or is that when they actually go to the tower?
It's when they're on their way to the tower. Swan visits Egwene and Nynaeve to teach them some things about channeling on the way there.
Because I feel like if they're gonna have them be in Tar Valon, they could have done that moment there, but they didn't want to show Nynaeve like basically,
being.
Well, kind of that's the thing. So long as it is a whammon of color, they will be fine with it.
Yeah, well, and they also couldn't show Egwene and Nynaeve being taught how to channel, because then they would have been taught how to channel before going to confront the Dark One, and we can't have that for
no,
some
you
odd
can't.
reason.
We don't need to learn.
Mm.
We don't need to learn things. We don't need other people to teach us things.
This whole show is a please. I know Mr. Rafe Judkins, A, we're too small, and B, he would probably consider us extremely red-pilled, even though I am very center. I would say that I am center right. I would say, but I'm just this was just bad on its own merits, and episode 8 was the worst episode of the season, and he wrote that bloody thing. So I lay full blame for episode 8 and just how it utterly screws with continuity on Rafe Judkins' head.
And I like, you can't blame this on the actor. What's it, Barney Harris?
Barney Harris.
You got him leaving. There's so many other ways you could have handled that, and a lot of this has nothing to do with that. But there's stuff about that where it's like, there's so many better explanations. They could have, if you just had, she hasn't fully healed you, and you have to stay here in Tarvalon to be healed, and that would have been a great excuse for him to be out of the action, and he has to, and have it be like it takes days for him to be healed fully.
The only issue is that wouldn't put him in Faldara for the events of the Great Hunt to begin. But
you can fix that by having Padan Fian steal the dagger, they're doing the healing of Matt. Have Padan Fian steal the dagger in Tarvalon, then go up to Faldara. Then, because the healing isn't complete, because it's in the middle of the healing thing, and the healing hasn't been complete, and they need the dagger to complete it. That's why Matt has to go to Faldara, because they have to get the dagger, because they need the dagger to heal him. So he follows Padan Fian, who has the dagger, who is going up to Faldara to get the horn, and then he follows him up to Faldara, or goes through the way gate somehow, or follows Padan Fian through the way gate. He basically has to have Matt escape from Tarvalon because he's chasing after the dagger, and something like that. I feel like there's something in that where you could kind of make that work.
Yeah, well, someone who's good at writing could have figured it out, or even halfway decent or competent. But no, we didn't get a competent writer for the series.
Because a lot of that could have happened off screen. As long as we know, all you would need to know is that Matt is being healed, that the dagger is necessary for him to be healed, and then when you reveal that Padan Fian has the dagger, that means he's stolen the dagger, and that Matt is no longer able to be healed. And then in the next season with the new actor, you can have Matt finally appear, in Faldara, I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's so frustrating.
Judkins is sicking the bots on us. That makes so much sense.
Huh. Well, I don't think there's really anything else.
Yeah, I am out of ideas.
We've been talking about this for a little over 2 hours, so I think we've thoroughly exhausted why the show is bad. Hopefully, we'll be relatively consistent and easy to follow. But it's just so annoying to going through it point by point would have been really frustrating. But it's most of the problems are started early on. A lot of the problem is it's just boring. This is a lame show with characters I do not care about. With character and the worst part is it's based on great source material. It's so frustrating. I don't understand how this was allowed to happen. like even like as its own like thing, there's a lot of writing problems throughout this show that are extremely obvious and frustrating.
There's the obvious stuff, but it's also just it's the fact that they add all these really surface level like world building where it's all these like dumb ceremonies. Like it's all surface level, but then they break the important world building, like the deeper stuff that affects the themes and the meaning and the society, like what the society is actually like what their values are. You know, like in the Two Rivers, what I was talking about earlier, like where it's like you add in this ceremony to give this veneer of world building, but then they just let Matt's parents be dicks. Like that to me, that's like one of the more I think about it, that's probably the thing that annoys me the most.
Yeah, Witcher does way better so far. Yeah.
Is season 2 bad?
I have not seen season 2 yet. I don't know. I can't comment. But yeah, like also like the fact that they took out binary gender reincarnation. That just, I don't think they fully understand how much that screws with the lore and screws with any amount of tension around the Dragon Reborn. I don't think they fully got that because.
Well, I was just gonna say to be fair, I suppose they didn't remove the binary soul reincarnation or whatever. It's just that the people think it could be possible to be reincarnated as the opposite sex.
They stated officially that they were removing binary reincarnation in a press release.
Oh,
yeah,
well then fuck them.
It's not just interpretation. It's just like they're saying, no, this does happen in the show universe. This is a thing, and I think it's just like whatever your thoughts are about like gender in real life. It's for the sake of the story. Just put that aside for a second here. Just put it. It's just go along with the idea that it's binary.
It is based around the inherent premise that there is a man who can channel. He will be reincarnated as a man who can channel, and he will always be reincarnated as a man who can channel, and that's what scares the crap out of people.
Well,
because
they gotta
he's going to go nuts.
They gotta stay consistent with the non-binary or the gender not being tied or being able to change in reincarnations. They gotta stick to that, and they gotta reveal that Bridget is actually a man.
Oh no!
No, they'll never do that.
Well, they've changed Jane. Well, they said Jane Farstrider is a woman.
Well, here's the thing.
That
was a man into a woman. They will never ever change a woman into a man.
Yeah, but
you gotta be consistent.
Would they change a woman into a gay man though?
I don't think so. They would consider that misogynist. They will. So it would be the same. They will never do a few specific things. They will never change a gay character into a straight character, ever. They will not change a black character into a white character. They will never change a woman into a man. And they will never, ever they will never change a woman. What's another thing that they won't do?
A black character into a white character.
I already said that.
Oh yeah.
They won't. Okay, they just won't change any person of color into a white person. Period.
Yeah.
What if it's a villain though? What if it's we can make this character white and they're a villain, and that means we no longer have a person of color being the villain?
Oh yeah, then go for it. Go for the throat.
That would remove a person of color character for a white character, and they don't.
Yeah, but they're a villain. They're bad,
Well, Padan Fane's a white guy in the.
That's kind of that is kind of weird. That's it. That strikes me as kind of like, huh. I don't know. It's just, but yeah, it seems weird though that that a straight woman would be higher on the stack, the progressive stack, than a gay man. It seems kind of weird. It seems kind of like.
And they won't ever
Huh.
like I said, they will never change a gay character into a straight character, because I think they would actually get riots on Twitter if that happened. They would get people on Twitter would get pissed.
Yeah, but I guess gay men are below women on the social pecking order because man, bad.
It kind of depends on what you're watching, since Denzel Washington has had a career. Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman have been in cinema for a very long time.
So hang on, what would they change a bisexual character to an exclusively gay character?
Yes, because bisexuality doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
Well, I see a lot of things where it's like, what do you call it? It's what do you call it? Like bi erasure. I've seen a lot of like people like, oh, this is bi erasure. I always find it weird in Buffy how Willow like dates men, right? Is exclusively into men until a certain
she's
point,
into girl,
and then
she's
but
into girls.
only women, right? She's only into women after that point. So, but it's weird because it's like clear the idea that, oh, well, she wasn't really into men. She just thought she was into men because of societal expectations. But that doesn't really make sense. Like if you watch those early seasons where she's with Oz, it's clearly not like put on. Like it's not like she's just doing it to conform. Like, no, like she's genuinely into the characters that she's into, you know? So it seems kind of weird that she's just abruptly, like, even if it's like, oh, but it was a bad breakup, like, it's still weird. Like, it's still weird that she specifically says, like, no, I'm a lesbian. And there's times where she's like, no, I'm definitely not attracted to men at all. It's just kind of weird. I've always found that kind of odd.
So the representation stuff is weak male characters and strong female characters, despite the fact that they are kind of fast tracking their development and making them like way too fortified. There's also kind of inserting a lesbian relationship, even though the companion, which is as close to canon as you're going to get for a encyclopedic guide to Wheel of Time, stated specifically that Moraine and Swan were not lesbians. There's also
there is characters like way later. I think I'm not sure if the characters I'm thinking about are like ones that were only when Sanderson was writing, but there are characters later on where they're definitely like 100% like lesbian. Like I'm pretty sure
when Sanderson was writing them, he was very more straightforward about their sexuality. I think with
Galena Kazban is a full-blown man-hating lesbian.
Yeah, but with the way Robert Jordan wrote, their sexuality didn't really seem to come across that much. Like, I think somewhere in one of the middle books, there was an affair between one of the sea folk women and a Carrion noble lady, and
yep, that's accurate.
And
since they were bored and missing their husbands, so they had sex to assuage the pangs of...
There's one of the Ashaman as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a gay Ashaman, yeah.
Yeah, I think that one's name is Imarin.
Yep, Imarin is gay, yeah. And Baldere, one of the Queen of RFL's... No, it's the Queen of Candor.
Saldia?
No, it's the Queen of Candor's
advisors.
Advisors is gay, and like he's kind of a gay stereotype in terms of he dresses like a gay stereotype, but he's still like apparently like a really, really brilliant guy. And like people respect him despite the fact that he dresses like a peacock, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. It's
And-
not like people can't be fabulous and badass. Just look at Sylvando in Dragon Quest XI.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of
Completely unrelated. But you know what's a really good scene? You know that scene in Fires of Heaven where it's your what do you call him? Is it Kadir? Is that what he's called?
yeah, Kadir.
Like that, where he kills I think it's Isendre.
Yeah, that's
Like that, I
freaky.
fucking love that scene. It's so
is.
good. The way
It is
he's
very
just like,
good.
oh yeah, that's totally cool. We'll work something out, and he just fully like chokes her, and he's like whistling, and he's like all nostalgic, and he's like, remember when I killed my family?
Yeah,
But he's just so like calm about it. I fucking
Yeah.
love that scene. I just feel like that would be a great scene on like if that was adapted. That'd be such a
in a
good
good
scene.
show.
Like, you could do that so well if it was a good show. You know, that would be such a good scene.
yeah. I hope that like my hope is that they'll improve. Their track record for season 2s are pretty bad at this point. Admittedly, the only season 2 of anything from Amazon that I have seen so far is The Boys season 2.
Oh,
That one, ugh.
I'm telling you though, Sneaky Pete,
I-
it's actually good.
I'll have to watch it. I did like Invincible season 1, and Invincible season 1 was way better than this.
Oh yeah,
And like people like Professor Geek baffle me, where they say like I hate the horrific violence and I hate the fact that Superman is being portrayed as a bad guy.
well, it's
No.
not Superman, is it? I haven't seen.
why is it
Invincible.
like Invincible? Invincible does that so much better.
Yeah, well, kind of like that's the thing. Maybe we'll watch Professor Geek's quit with the evil Superman, specifically in reference, like he's very puritanical in that he wants superheroes to be just good, which like
Well, Invincible
certain
does
extent,
have
I
that though.
understand
You know what I
that.
mean? Like,
yeah,
even
and
though
like,
Omni-Man's in it, it still has like Invincible himself being like kind
Yeah.
of the noble
yeah,
hero. So, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I'm just legitimately frustrated with this show. I can't understand so many of these creators. I'm kind of sounding like a broken record, but I just don't understand how this happened. Like, and it seems as though they are putting like it seems like it's the same like style and agenda that you see in something like Star Wars.
Mhm.
Or is the sequel trilogy specifically, where the women are overpowered, and even when like what the women are doing is either stupid or authoritarian, it's waved off. It's not treated as crazy or authoritarian.
It's reasons that yeah, they're in the right, and if you disagree, you're just wrong.
Yeah, and so my hope is that it'll kind of depend on what Mr. Judkins and the creative team does. It's a similar annoying trend, and and it's frustrating to see because it's all over the place. Like it's there in Star Wars, it's there in Knives Out, it's there in He-Man. It's all over the place.
Oh,
And
I heard
it's a consistent annoying pattern that needs to die. But it won't, because the idiots on Twitter will squee and re if they either when they keep doing it, and they'll just scream bloody murder if it's shifted.
Yeah, I heard a rumor that Lord of the Rings show they're making is going to introduce a totally brand new character that is the brother of, or the sister of someone who was in the show or the movies or the books or whatever. I don't remember names very well. Lord of the Rings is not my forte.
Well, kind of that's the thing, where that show is going to be bad. There's no way in hell. Oh, they do. Like, Ryan Johnson is consistently on Twitter. Like, he really does care about Twitter. He is on there constantly taking potshots at the people who hate his stuff.
Oh, you would love that one account You would love that one account, Ruin Johnson, that's constantly making fun of him.
Yeah. I think so long as they get money, that's the weird thing. They have been making less money.
Well, I mean, Hollywood accounting is weird, though. I mean,
Yeah.
they can
And also, like, the idiot. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot Marvel Phase 4 is doing this, especially with, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier. That show.
we're
was
getting
bad.
America Chavez
Ugh.
soon in I
It's
think it's
marketing
it's
and
it's
fake brownie
Marvel.
points. I don't think so, since Ryan Johnson maintain. I think Ryan Johnson. I think there are a few like J.J. Abrams who is J.J. Abrams is just a cynical money man. That's all he is. Ryan Johnson, he comes off as he's a true believer. Same with Rafe Judkins, and the guy who did The Boys when he said like Homelander's definitely a Trump analog. And it's like, okay.
I don't really see how it's like. I don't think the whole get woke go broke thing. I don't think that's really like true. But it also doesn't make them more money. I don't think it makes them more money to have this stuff in there. And also like it doesn't really matter what they
also want to stay
producers
relevant.
believe. Like it doesn't really matter what the people funding it believe. Like they don't care. But the people making it are like they're the kind of people who create stuff. You know? So
Yeah,
and they're surrounded by a whole lot of people that also went to they went to the same universities that they went to, and they most of them took classes on a lot of this stuff and all of like intersectionality stuff as part of their what they did in university while learning film. They also did a whole lot of this kind of ideology stuff.
So here's kind of the problem.
The short answer is yes.
So it's a little bit more complicated. I would prefer equality and being accurate.
Well, it's like they have
having
different
development.
advantages. Well, in terms of the magic, at least, like there's things that women can do that men can't do, and men have just a raw power. Like in terms of raw power, they got more, but they can't link without.
So men have more raw power. There, on average, a man is much stronger in the power than a woman, but women are able to link together unaided. Men can't do that, and then women also specialize more in more useful day-to-day things like healing and stuff. That's
and the fact that it's not
men
like
to heal.
Tainted, like at least right now, like at least in the time of the story, they don't go mad when they use it. So it's just the idea that they're, because one of the things in the Wheel of Time is that they're not just interchangeable, that they
and weaknesses.
both need each other. You know what I mean? Like men need women and women need men. It's like a big theme that it's not just like.
Well, we don't necessarily. Well, we undoubtedly that's fine. It's pretty there. I honestly just like I'm seeing this.
I don't know how you can see fucking pregnant women in labor fighting off 5 guys and not think this is a little bit cringe. This is a little bit cringe, and it's
really
for
biased.
ideological reasons. Like there's no way.
Like even my dad,
you don't
who is
do that without being
even my dad, who is one of the most like easygoing guys, said like fairly like he's like pretty center, says that this seems like they are putting agenda above story and the current political talking points above the story. And it's just a consistent thing that's been happening across multiple studios. And
I just want to be entertained. It's not a big like deal, It's I would like to be entertained. You know what I mean?
I would rather like it's kind of like I think Salty Texas C, like he's very red pilled, but what he says is it's all about intersectionalism. That's what it's this whole thing is about intersectionalism. That's what it's about. And at least Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm like, yes, Falcon and Winter Soldier is very, very Black Lives Matter in ways that doesn't make sense. Like the Falcon can't get the money for a loan to help his sister repair his boat because he's black. No. And because he didn't have income for the time he was blipped. No. Also, he doesn't have any money. No. They do the talking points really badly. It's that they do the Black Lives Matter stuff in such a stupid fashion that it's so blatant that's annoying. They don't want to be shot out of hand. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But the way that they implemented it in Falcon and Winter Soldier was really cringy. Like the black man who has a very unique skill set and is consistently getting government contracts is broke and can't get a loan for his sister. That's stupid. Or just the cops on the street like stop him and Bucky when in reality Sam Wilson is a celebrity and they should know him. That's stupid. And then all that Falcon says at the end in terms of repairing it, he says, maybe I don't know, and that's a good thing. But you need to do better, Senator. And it's like, oh, are you just a legitimate idiot?
Do better, don't do bad.
Yeah. They will stop. Yeah, there have been a significant amount of cops on black people violence. I will fully admit that. A lot of deaths that should not have happened. But if you're going to put that in your show, don't do it like this. Don't do it in a way that's cringe. Injured doesn't make any sense, even within our real world. But yeah, sorry to end on that particular downer note, but I just I can't see any other reason. Yeah, it seems like they're stupid, but it seems like the base reason why it's stupid is similar to the reasons why Star Wars is stupid, Disney Star Wars is stupid, or yeah. The point is the bad writing. Not that I don't like their politics.
But that's why the writing is bad.
Yeah.
You don't write a scene where a pregnant woman fights off 5 guys without, the reason that you're trying to make a pregnant woman capable of fighting off 5 men is you don't just randomly do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can't tell me that that's not motivated by, we're going to empower women. You don't do that. And I don't agree that they're doing it to appeal to the market. I don't believe that this is popular.
If it was popular, I don't think that it is that popular. I think that it is very much they're trying to virtue signal because the people making this are true believers, even if the money men are not. The fact that it is a consistent pattern, and both bad writing and specific elements throughout, because of they want the pendulum to shift to men have been focused on throughout most of cinema, so we'll just shift the pendulum to the females. And even Ray Judkins has said that he is a male feminist.
And it's also the explanation for why Moraine's the main character in this TV show instead of Rand.
Yeah. Doing lip service, perhaps. But
pretty fucking expensive lip service. pretty $1 million lip service. Yeah,
$80 million.
I don't know.
it's 10 million per episode as opposed to The Legend of the Seeker, which was 1.5 million per episode. But it's just like it's a consistent pattern that's happening across studios. If it was just this show, then I would be irritated, but I would kind of like wave it off and say, it's fine, it's just happening. But the fact that it's happening across He-Man, Star Wars, The Boys, this, it looks like that's going to happen with Lord of the Rings. What are some other... Ooh, Ghostbusters 2016. Anybody remember that? Admittedly, I didn't watch it. I've just seen bits of it, and I'm just like, this is vile, horrible anti-comedy on a level with the Bayformers. Why is this? What idiot thought this was funny?
Yeah. So that, I mean, obviously they did the new Ghostbusters movie,
Ghostbusters Afterlife, that
which is kind of not the. It's definitely not. It's not the cringe of the 2016 Ghostbusters.
But it's definitely kind of a combination of they're definitely incompetent. That's not up for debate. But also the methods of their incompetence and the elements of their storytelling are very, very similar. And it's really frustrating because it's just, I can't not see this because it's so consistent. It's very annoying.
Okay, I'm gonna. It's late.
Yeah. Well, we will conclude it there. I think we'll have this debate on a lot of things, but ultimately, like, it's happened at least, like, now that it's happened like 5 or 6 times at this point, I now can't unsee it. And it's so annoying. But we'll see you guys later. All 2 people in the chat. It's a little bit late. Sorry for people who want to watch us live. But we'll see you another time. Adios.
Hey.
Check the gate, moving on.